Assalamualaikum and good morning to my respected lecturer, Mr. Muhammad Puad bin Ma'un, and everyone. My name is Izzah binti Bahari, and today I will be presenting my experience under the topic of disease control for PTT 6226. Disease control is an important component of public health because it focuses on preventing, detecting, and controlling communicable disease. During my practical training, I was exposed to various disease control activities, including disease surveillance, notification, investigation, vector control, and international health measures. Through this training, I gained a better understanding of the role of environmental health officers in protecting the community from communicable diseases. Next, I will explain about disease surveillance and notification. Disease surveillance involves continuously monitoring communicable disease to detect unusual patterns or increases in cases. It helps with early detection and allow timely public health intervention. Disease notification involves reporting disease cases to the relevant health authorities so that the cases can be monitored and appropriate control measures can be taken. Therefore, both surveillance and notification are important for the early detection, monitoring, and control of communicable diseases. This was also one of the activities that I was exposed to during my practical training. Next, I will explain about disease investigation and reporting. Disease investigation is carried out to identify the source, risk factors, and possible transmission of communicable disease. It involves collecting information about the cases and their context, including relevant exposure history. The findings are then documented systematically and used to support monitoring, follow-up, and appropriate disease control measures. This slide shows the main categories of communicable diseases under disease control. The diseases were grouped into five main categories: water and foodborne diseases, airborne diseases, body fluid transmitted diseases, vector-borne diseases, and zoonotic diseases. Examples of water and foodborne diseases include food poisoning, cholera or acute gastroenteritis, and typhoid. For airborne diseases, the examples include tuberculosis, diphtheria, and hand, foot, and mouth disease. For diseases transmitted through body fluids, the examples include HIV, syphilis, and other STDs. Diseases include dengue, chikungunya, and malaria, while zoonotic diseases include rabies and leptospirosis. These categories provide an overview of the different communicable diseases involved in disease surveillance and control activities. Next, I will present the disease surveillance data and selected prevalent trends observed during the practical. This slide presents the dengue surveillance trend in Hulu Selangor district from 2021 to 2025. The number of registered cases increased significantly from 167 cases in 2021 and reached a peak of 2017 cases in 2023. After that, the number of cases decreased to 663 cases in 2025. A similar trend was observed in the prevalence rate, which peaked at 799.76 per 100,000 population in 2023, before decreasing to 255.20 per 100,000 population in 2025. This shows the importance of continuous disease surveillance in monitoring disease trends, and supporting appropriate disease control measures. During my attachment, I was exposed to the disease investigation and reporting activities conducted by the Disease Control Unit. The investigation process involved verifying reported cases, obtaining epidemiological and exposure information, assessing possible source of infection, and identifying appropriate control measures. I was also exposed to the preparation and documentation of investigation reports, which are important for disease surveillance, follow-up, and public health action. Next, I will explain the vector control activities that I was exposed to during my attachment. For Aedes or dengue control, I participated in a breeding site inspection where potential breeding sites were examined. I was also exposed to the identification, preservation, and microscopic examination of mosquito larvae. For malaria control, I received a briefing on a malaria case cluster, including Anopheles larval surveillance, entomological investigation, source reduction, and larval source management. These activities helped me understand how vector surveillance and environmental control measures contribute to the prevention of vector-borne disease transmission. Next, I will present the Vector Quality Assurance Program. During my attachment, I participated in the Vector-Borne Disease Investigation course, which provide practical exposure to vector-borne disease investigation. I was exposed to vector surveillance and field assessment, as well as the identification and use of vector control equipment. I also gain an understanding of how appropriate vector control strategies are applied during field activities. Overall, this hands-on exposure helped me understand the importance of proper procedure and effective vector control in preventing vector-borne diseases. The next activity was participation in a healthy lifestyle campaign. The main purpose of this activity was to promote healthy lifestyle practice and increase public awareness on disease prevention. During the campaign, health education and preventive health messages were shared with the community. Activities such as health promotion, screening, and public engagement can encourage individuals to adopt healthier lifestyles and reduce the risk of non-communicable disease. Through this activity, I gain exposure to the role of environmental health officers in health promotion and community-based disease prevention. The next component of disease control is airport health services, which focus on protecting public health at the point of entry. The activities include prevention and surveillance of communicable disease under the International Health Regulation (IHR), vector and rodent control, airport sanitation, and food safety activities. These measures are important to reduce environmental and public health risks associated with international travel and movement of people. The next area under airport health services involve vector and environmental health control. For Aedes mosquito control, activities include larval surveillance, ovitrap installation and monitoring, identification of breeding sites, and source reduction. Rodent control is also important at the airport to prevent the presence and spread of rodent-related health risks. This involves inspection, monitoring, and appropriate control measures. In addition, airport sanitation focuses on maintaining environmental cleanliness, proper waste management, and sanitary facilities. These activities help to maintain a safe airport environment and reduce potential public health risks. Another important component of airport health services is food safety and quality. During my attachment, I was exposed to several food safety activities at the airport. These include the examination of the flight kitchen and inspection of food premise at the airport. I was also exposed to the procedure for food assessment and halt test release, as well as the use of the Food Safety Information System or FOSIM. These activities provide me with an understanding of how food safety is monitored at an airport environment to help ensure that food provided to travelers and airport personnel is safe and meets the required standard. After completing the airport health services, I was also exposed to port health services, which focuses on protecting public health in the maritime environment. These activities include prevention, control and surveillance of communicable disease under the International Health Regulation, verification of maritime declaration of health, ship inspection, quarantine inspection, and ship sanitation activities. Vector control, including Aedes mosquito and rodent control, is also important in preventing the introduction and spread of diseases through maritime activities. Through this exposure, I get a better understanding of the role of port health services in protecting public health at the point of entry. One of the important activities under Port Health Services is the verification of the Maritime Declaration of Health or MDH. The MDH is submitted by the shipmaster before arrival and provides information regarding the health status of crew members and passengers. Port health officers review the declaration to identify any reported illness, death, or symptoms of communicable diseases and to assess potential public health risks. Following the health assessment and inspection, a free practice certificate may be issued when the vessel meets the required health and sanitation standards. This allows the vessels to proceed with normal port operations. Therefore, these procedures are important to prevent the introduction and spread of communicable disease through maritime travel. The next activity under Port Health Services is the inspection of quarantine ships and ship sanitation certification. Quarantine ships are inspected when there is a suspected or confirmed health risk on board. The inspection focuses on the health status of the crew, reported illness, and the sanitation and hygiene conditions of the vessel. Port health officers also conduct ship sanitation inspections for the purpose of issuing the Ship Sanitation Control Certificate or Ship Sanitation Control Exemption Certificate. These inspections help to identify and control potential source of infection and ensure the ships meet the required sanitation standards before continuing their operation. Besides ship inspection and sanitation certification, port health services also include vector, rodent, and environmental sanitation activities. This mosquito control involves surveillance of breeding sites, identification of mosquito larvae, and appropriate control measures. Rodent control focuses on identifying signs of rodent activity, monitoring potential harborage areas, and eliminating sources that may support rodent infestation. Port sanitation also plays an important role by maintaining environmental cleanliness, proper waste management, food and drinking water hygiene, and overall sanitary conditions. Together, these activities help to minimize public health risks and prevent the spread of communicable diseases at the port. The next component is border checkpoint under international health. Border health measures are important to prevent the introduction and international spread of communicable diseases through the movement of travelers. At point of entry, health risks may be identified through appropriate surveillance and health assessment measures. When a potential public health risk is identified, appropriate preventive and control measures can be implemented. These activities also require coordination with relevant agencies and support the implementation of the international health regulation. Overall, border health Overall, border health measures contribute to protecting the population from potential international health threats. In conclusion, my practical attachment provide me with valuable exposure to various aspects of disease control and prevention. I get a broader understanding of disease surveillance, notification and investigation, as well as practical exposure to vector surveillance and control activities. I also gain an understanding of the use of CDCIS e-notification in supporting disease reporting and surveillance. In addition, my exposure to airport health, port health, and international health activity help me understand how public health risks are managed at point of entry. Overall, this attachment strengthens my understanding of the role of environmental health officers in disease prevention and control. It also highlighted the importance of teamwork, accurate documentation, and timely action in protecting public health. This practical experience has helped me connect the knowledge gained from my studies with its application in real-world environmental health practice. I would like to thank to my lecturer, Mr. Muhammad Puad bin Maun, and everyone who guided and supported me throughout my practical training. Thank you for your time and attention.